Did you know that the snacks you reach for could be hurting your body instead of helping it? Especially as we get older, what we eat really matters. Nuts are often called a health food, but picking the wrong ones could quietly add harmful things to your diet, putting stress on your heart, blood sugar, and even your memory. But here's the good news: switching to the right nuts can feel like giving your body a powerful, natural boost. Imagine feeling more energetic, thinking more clearly, and knowing you're helping your heart stay strong just by enjoying a simple snack. That's the power of choosing the right nuts. In this video, I'm going to share which 4 types of nuts you should absolutely steer clear of, especially if you're over 65, and then reveal the 4 powerhouse nuts that you truly must start eating. This isn't just my opinion, it's based on years of seeing what works and what doesn't, backed by science. Get ready to learn simple swaps that can make a big difference in how you feel every single day. I'm Dr. Rio IBA, a geriatric physician with 58 years of experience treating older adults worldwide. If you find this information helpful, please take a moment to like this video and leave a comment below. My goal is always to share knowledge that can help you live your best life as you age. The advice I give comes from decades spent with patients just like you, seeing the real-world impact of diet on health, and keeping up with the latest peer-reviewed studies from trusted institutions. For example, research published in journals like the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition or reports from places like the National Institutes of Health often show clear links between what we eat and how our bodies function in later years. Think of this video as me sharing some of the most important lessons from all that time and research. However, please remember this video is for educational purposes only. Your health is unique, and you should always consult with your own healthcare provider before making any big changes to your diet or health routine. Let's get started with the nuts you need to be wary of. It's not that the nut itself is always the enemy, but how it's prepared or what's added to it can turn a potentially healthy snack into something harmful, especially for older bodies that might be more sensitive to certain things like high blood pressure or blood sugar swings. Let's look at the first type you should probably never touch. The first nut you should never touch, especially if you're over 65, is heavily salted nuts. Now, a little salt adds flavor, but the amount of salt, or sodium, packed onto many store-bought nuts is simply too much. Why is this a big problem for older adults? Well, as we age, our bodies often become more sensitive to sodium. Eating too much salt causes your body to hold on to extra water. This extra water in your bloodstream makes your heart work harder to pump blood, and it puts pressure on the walls of your blood vessels. Over time, this leads to high blood pressure, also known as hypertension. High blood pressure is a major risk factor for serious problems like heart attacks, strokes, and kidney disease. It can also affect your brain health. Even if you don't have high blood pressure now, a diet high in sodium makes it much more likely that you will develop it. Many older adults are already managing blood pressure issues, and adding a lot of salt from snacks like nuts just makes the job harder for your heart and your medication. Think about it, you're trying to be healthy by eating nuts, but the salt coating is actively working against your heart and blood vessels. It's a classic example of something that seems healthy on the surface having a hidden danger. A significant study, often referenced in discussions about sodium intake and cardiovascular health in older populations, is the DASH, Dietary Approaches to Stop Hypertension, study and its follow-up research. While not solely focused on nuts, the core finding of DASH was how reducing sodium intake, along with eating foods rich in potassium, calcium, and magnesium, could significantly lower blood pressure. This principle applies directly to avoiding heavily salted nuts. They counteract the blood pressure lowering benefits you might seek from a generally healthy diet. A handful of heavily salted nuts can easily contain hundreds of milligrams of sodium, sometimes adding up to a significant portion of the recommended daily limit, which is often less than 2,300 milligrams, and even lower, around 1,500 milligrams, for many older adults or those with existing conditions. So, what's the practical action here? It's simple: become a label reader. Before you buy a bag of nuts, look at the nutrition information, specifically the sodium content. Choose nuts labeled unsalted, lightly salted, or no salt added. Better yet, Buy raw or dry roasted nuts and add your own very light sprinkle of salt if needed, or season them with salt-free spices like pepper, garlic powder, or paprika. If you're at a party or a gathering and the only nuts available are heavily salted, it's best to just politely pass on them. Finding unsalted options is becoming easier as more people understand the health risks of too much sodium. Now, a safety nuance: while heavily salted is bad, completely eliminating all salt isn't necessary or even advisable for everyone. Our bodies do need a small amount of sodium to function properly. The danger comes from the excessive amounts found in many processed foods, including heavily salted nuts. So, we're talking about avoiding the excess, not eliminating sodium entirely. If you have specific health conditions related to electrolytes or kidney function, your doctor will give you the best advice on sodium intake. But for most older adults looking to protect their heart and blood pressure, heavily salted nuts are a clear no-go. Okay, so we know to ditch the salt bombs. But what about something that looks a little sweeter? Let's look at the next nut preparation you should probably avoid. The second type of nut preparation you should never touch, especially as you age, is nuts with sugary coatings. These include things like honey-roasted nuts, candied nuts, or nuts covered in chocolate or yogurt-like coatings that are high in added sugar. Just like too much salt is bad for your blood pressure and heart, too much sugar is bad for your blood sugar levels and overall health, especially for older adults. As we age, our bodies can become less effective at managing blood sugar. This means that when you eat something high in sugar, your blood sugar level can spike quickly. Over time, these spikes and crashes can contribute to insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes, and weight gain. Diabetes is a serious condition that can damage your heart, kidneys, eyes, and nerves. Even if you don't develop full-blown diabetes, having consistently high blood sugar can still cause inflammation in the body and contribute to other health problems. Sugary coatings also add a lot of extra calories without adding much in the way of valuable nutrients like fiber or healthy fats, which nuts themselves provide. Research published in journals like Circulation, which focuses on cardiovascular health, and studies on metabolic syndrome often highlight the negative impact of excessive added sugar intake. For example, a report from the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health summarizing findings on sugar intake points to a clear link between diets high in added sugar and increased risk of cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, and obesity. While nuts without sugar coatings are often protective against these very conditions, adding a heavy layer of sugar cancels out many of the benefits and introduces significant risks. Think of a healthy almond or pecan drowning in a sea of sugar. It's like taking a nutritious food and turning it into candy that harms your health goals. So, what's the practical action? Just like with salt, read the ingredient list and the nutrition facts panel. Look for added sugars listed as sugar, honey, syrup, glucose, fructose, or anything ending in -ose. Choose plain, unsweetened nuts instead. If you want a touch of sweetness, you can combine plain nuts with a small amount of fresh fruit like berries or a few raisins. You get natural sweetness and extra fiber and vitamins without the harmful effects of added sugar. Avoiding nuts with sugary coatings is one of the easiest ways to cut down on hidden sugars in your diet. A safety nuance to consider: not all sweetness is bad. The natural sugars found inside the nuts themselves, or in whole fruits you might pair them with, are different because they come packaged with fiber and other nutrients that help your body process the sugar more slowly. It's the added sugars in coatings that are the problem. Also, be wary of sugar-free coatings, as they might contain artificial sweeteners or sugar alcohols that can sometimes cause digestive upset in some people. Plain is usually best. Okay, we've talked about too much salt and too much sugar. What about how some nuts are cooked? That's our next nut to avoid. The third type of nut you should probably never touch, especially if you're over 65, is deep-fried nuts. While nuts themselves contain healthy fats, deep frying them completely changes their fat profile and adds unhealthy elements. Deep frying involves submerging food in hot oil, often at very high temperatures. When nuts are deep fried, they absorb a lot of this oil. The oils used for deep frying are often not the healthiest kinds, and the high temperatures can damage the healthy fats that were naturally in the nuts, turning them into trans fats or other harmful compounds. Eating foods high in these unhealthy fats can increase your levels of LDL, bad cholesterol, which can build up in your arteries and increase your risk of heart disease and stroke. Deep frying also adds a significant number of extra calories to the nuts without adding any nutritional value. It makes them very energy dense, meaning you get a lot of calories in a small serving, which can contribute to weight gain. Unlike roasting or toasting, which might dry out the nut slightly or enhance its natural flavor, deep frying saturates it with oil, masking the natural goodness of the nut itself. Studies looking at different cooking methods and their impact on the nutritional value of foods, including nuts, show that deep frying is one of the least healthy ways to prepare food. Research in publications like the Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry has detailed how high-temperature cooking methods, like deep frying, can degrade the healthy fats in foods and create potentially harmful byproducts. While specific, large-scale studies focusing only on deep-fried nuts in older adults are rare, the well-established evidence on the harms of deep-fried foods and unhealthy fats applies directly. The negative impact on cholesterol levels and increased inflammation are concerns for people of all ages, but particularly for older adults who may already be managing cardiovascular risk factors. So, the practical action is straightforward: choose nuts that are raw, dry roasted, or air-fried instead of deep-fried. Most nuts sold in bags at the grocery store are either raw or dry roasted, which are good options. Dry roasting uses hot air to cook the nut without added oil, while regular roasting might use a small amount of oil, but it's still much less than deep frying. Air frying is another good method that gives a crispy texture using very little oil. Restaurants or snack mixes found in some stores might contain deep-fried nuts, so it's important to be aware and ask about preparation methods if you're unsure. A safety nuance: not all nuts labeled roasted are deep-fried. Check the ingredients list. If it just says the nut name and maybe salt, it's likely dry or conventionally roasted, which is fine. If it lists oil as a primary ingredient and the texture seems unusually greasy, it might be deep-fried. When in doubt, simpler preparation methods are always better. We've covered salty, sugary, and greasy. What about the nuts themselves? Are there any raw nuts that can cause issues? That's our final nut to be cautious about. The fourth nut you should probably never touch, or at least be very careful with in large amounts, especially as you get older, involves certain raw nuts in specific situations. Now, let me be clear, most raw nuts are perfectly healthy. The concern here isn't about all raw nuts, but about specific types or quantities due to things called antinutrients, or potential digestive issues. Antinutrients are natural compounds found in many plant foods, including nuts, seeds, and grains. They are there to protect the plant. In nuts, common antinutrients include phytic acid and tannins. These compounds can sometimes make it harder for your body to absorb certain minerals like zinc, iron, and calcium from the nuts. While a healthy person eating a varied diet isn't likely to have a problem with the small amounts of antinutrients in a normal serving of nuts, older adults might have more sensitive digestive systems or be more prone to nutrient deficiencies. Eating very large amounts of raw nuts with high levels of antinutrients regularly could, in theory, slightly impact mineral absorption over time. Also, the raw texture of some nuts can be harder to digest for some people compared to roasted versions. Certain raw nuts, like cashews, contain a compound related to the substance found in poison ivy, which is destroyed by heat during processing. Eating truly raw cashews, not the raw ones sold in stores, which have usually been steamed, can cause skin irritation. Even store-bought, raw nuts can sometimes carry a higher risk of certain foodborne illnesses if not handled properly, although this is rare. Research on antinutrients in nuts is ongoing. Studies published in journals like the Journal of Food Science have looked at how different preparation methods, like soaking, sprouting, or roasting, can reduce antinutrient levels in various seeds and nuts. While the clinical impact of antinutrients from typical nut consumption in older adults is generally considered minor, the theoretical concern exists, especially with very high intake. The issue with truly raw cashews and potential irritants is well documented from a food safety perspective. The digestive difficulty some older adults experience with raw nuts is more anecdotal but commonly reported. The practical action here is not to fear all raw nuts, but to be mindful. Most people tolerate raw nuts just fine. If you find raw nuts cause you digestive upset, try switching to roasted versions, which are often easier to digest. If you're concerned about anti-nutrients, you can look for nuts that have been soaked and then dried, or stick to roasted nuts, as roasting helps reduce phytic acid levels. And definitely avoid any nuts explicitly labeled as truly raw cashews. The ones you buy in the store labeled raw have almost always been steamed to make them safe. Focusing on variety and not eating excessively large quantities of any single raw food item is a good general rule. A safety nuance: for the vast majority of older adults, eating a normal portion of common raw nuts like almonds or walnuts occasionally is perfectly healthy, and the benefits far outweigh the minimal risk from anti-nutrients. The concern is primarily with very high, daily consumption of specific raw nuts or with specific, truly raw types that are known irritants, like unsteamed cashews. Pay attention to how your own body feels after eating raw nuts. Still watching and finding this helpful? Type 1 in the comments below to let me know. Before we move on to the powerhouse nuts you must eat, I want to share a short story. I had a patient, let's call her Mrs. Tanaka. She was in her late 70s and was struggling with her blood pressure. She was on medication, but it wasn't fully controlled. She loved snacking and often reached for a big bowl of what she thought were healthy nuts. When I asked her about them, she pulled out a bag of shiny, honey-roasted peanuts and another of heavily salted mixed nuts. She was eating them daily, thinking she was doing something good for her heart because nuts are healthy. We talked about the salt and the sugar, how they were working against her blood pressure medication and her health goals. It was a light bulb moment for her. We made a simple plan to switch her snacks to plain, unsalted almonds and walnuts. Within a couple of months, her blood pressure readings started improving, and she even felt less bloated. It wasn't a magic cure, but removing the harmful salt and sugar from her daily snack made a real, measurable difference in her health. It just goes to show how much impact these small changes can have, especially as we get older. It's not always about adding complicated things, but sometimes about removing the things that are hurting us. Now that we've looked at the nuts to be cautious about, let's switch gears and focus on the delicious and incredibly healthy nuts that you should make a regular part of your diet. These nuts are packed with nutrients that are especially beneficial for older adults, helping support everything from brain function to heart health to bone strength. We'll count them down from number 4 to number 1. Starting our countdown of nuts you must eat if you're over 65 at number 4, pecans. Pecans are more than just a delicious addition to pies, they are little powerhouses of nutrition, particularly rich in antioxidants. As we age, our bodies are exposed to more and more damage from unstable molecules called free radicals. This damage, known as oxidative stress, contributes to aging and increases the risk of chronic diseases like heart disease, cancer, and Alzheimer's. Antioxidants are compounds that help protect your cells from this damage by neutralizing free radicals. Pecans contain a wide variety of antioxidants, including different forms of vitamin E and various polyphenol. In fact, studies have shown that pecans have one of the highest levels of antioxidants among all tree nuts. These antioxidants are not just good for general cell health, they play a role in protecting your brain and cardiovascular system. They can help reduce inflammation, which is linked to many age-related conditions, and may help keep your arteries flexible and healthy. The healthy fats in pecans, mostly monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats, also contribute to heart health by helping to lower bad cholesterol levels. Research published in the journal Nutrients and Studies presented at conferences like the Experimental Biology meeting have highlighted the strong antioxidant capacity of pecans and their potential health benefits. One study specifically noted the high levels of gamma-tocopherol, a form of vitamin E, in pecans and its role in antioxidant defense. Other research has looked at how incorporating pecans into the diet can impact markers of inflammation and cholesterol levels. While more large-scale, long-term studies specifically on pecan consumption in older adults are always valuable. The existing evidence on their nutrient profile and antioxidant power makes a strong case for including them in a healthy aging diet. They offer a delicious way to add protective compounds to your daily routine. So, how can you easily add more pecans to your diet? It's simple. A small handful, about a quarter cup, is a good serving size. You can snack on them plain, add chopped pecans to your morning oatmeal or yogurt, sprinkle them on a salad for extra crunch and nutrients, or mix them into baked goods like muffins. Just be mindful of added sugar in recipes. Pecans have a rich, buttery flavor that makes them a versatile ingredient. Buying them shelled makes them an easy grab-and-go snack. Look for raw or dry-roasted unsalted pecans for the most health benefits. A safety nuance with pecans: like all nuts, pecans are calorie-dense due to their healthy fat content. While these are good calories, portion control is still important if you're managing your weight. A small handful provides significant nutrients without adding excessive calories. Also, some people with nut allergies might be sensitive to pecans, although allergies to pecans are less common than to peanuts or tree nuts like walnuts or almonds. Pecans are great for antioxidants and heart health, but our next nut is particularly famous for something else that's vital as we age. Coming in at number 3 on our list of nuts you must eat if you're over 65, pistachios. These green little nuts are not just fun to eat, they are packed with unique nutrients that are especially important as we age. One of the standout benefits of pistachios is their high content of lutein and zeaxanthin. These are two types of antioxidants called carotenoids that are well known for their role in eye health. Lutein and zeaxanthin are found in high concentrations in the macula, a part of your eye responsible for sharp, central vision. As we get older, the risk of age-related macular degeneration, AMD, a leading cause of vision loss in older adults, increases. Eating foods rich in lutein and zeaxanthin can help protect your macula and reduce the risk of developing or worsening AMD. Pistachios are one of the best nut sources of these crucial eye protective compounds. Beyond eye health, pistachios are also a good source of fiber, which is important for digestive health and can help manage blood sugar levels. They also provide protein, potassium, and certain B vitamins. Numerous studies have confirmed the presence of lutein and zeaxanthin in pistachios and their potential benefits for eye health. Research published in journals like the British Journal of Nutrition and presentations at Vision Science conferences have highlighted pistachios as a valuable dietary source of these carotenoids. For example, one study specifically measured the lutein and zeaxanthin content in various nuts and found pistachios to be significantly higher than other common nuts. The Age-Related Eye Disease Study, ARDS, a landmark series of clinical trials, showed that supplementing with a specific formula including nutrients like lutein and zeaxanthin could slow the progression of intermediate AMD to advanced AMD. While eating pistachios is not the same as taking a high-dose supplement, regular consumption contributes to dietary intake of these protective compounds. The fiber content in pistachios has also been explored in studies related to gut health and metabolic control, confirming their benefits in those areas as well. The practical action for adding pistachios to your diet is easy. A serving is about 1 ounce, which is roughly 49 kernels, quite a lot for a small handful, making them a satisfying snack. Eating them in the shell can also help you eat more slowly and mindfully, controlling your portion size. Add shelled pistachios to salads, sprinkle them over cooked vegetables for added crunch and nutrients, mix them into rice or quinoa dishes, or enjoy them simply as a snack. Choose dry roasted and unsalted versions whenever possible to avoid excess sodium. The vibrant green color is a good indicator of their freshness and nutrient content. A safety nuance for pistachios: the primary concern is the shell. Make sure to fully remove the shell before eating the nut inside to avoid chipping a tooth or causing digestive issues. As with other nuts, be mindful of portion size due to calories, especially if you're managing your weight. For individuals with potassium restrictions due to kidney issues, discussing appropriate portion sizes with a healthcare provider is wise, although the amount in a typical serving is usually not a concern for most. So, pistachios are great for your eyes and digestion. Our number 2 nut is famous for something that keeps many older adults feeling strong and mobile. Re-engagement beat, still watching and learning about the best nuts for you? Type nut in the comments. Moving on to number 2 on our list of nuts you must eat if you're over 65, almonds. Almonds are incredibly popular, and for good reason. They are nutritional powerhouses, packed with nutrients that are particularly beneficial as we age, including vitamin E and magnesium. Vitamin E is a powerful antioxidant, similar to those found in pecans, that helps protect your cells from damage. It plays a role in supporting your immune system, which is crucial for fighting off infections as you get older, and also helps keep your skin healthy. Magnesium is a mineral that is vital for hundreds of processes in your body, including muscle and nerve function, blood sugar control, and blood pressure regulation. It's also incredibly important for bone health. As we age, maintaining bone density is key to preventing osteoporosis and fractures. Magnesium works alongside calcium and vitamin D to keep your bones strong. Many older adults don't get enough magnesium in their diet, so eating almonds is a great way to boost your intake. Almonds are also a good source of fiber, protein, and healthy monounsaturated fats, all of which contribute to heart health and can help you feel full and satisfied. Numerous studies have highlighted the health benefits of almonds. Research published in the Journal of the American Heart Association and the New England Journal of Medicine has shown that regular nut consumption, including almonds, is linked to a reduced risk of heart disease. Studies specifically on almonds have demonstrated their positive effects on cholesterol levels. Research focusing on micronutrients like vitamin E and magnesium, published in journals such as the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, consistently points to the importance of adequate intake for overall health and disease prevention in older adults. Almonds are frequently cited as a top dietary source for both of these nutrients. For instance, a study from Purdue University looking at magnesium intake in older adults suggested dietary sources like nuts are important for meeting daily requirements. The combination of vitamin E and magnesium in almonds provides a dual benefit for immune function, nerve health, and bone strength. The practical action for incorporating almonds is very straightforward because they are so versatile. A serving size is about 1 ounce, which is roughly 23 almonds. Snack on a handful, sprinkle sliced almonds on your morning cereal or yogurt, add them to stir-fries or green bean dishes, or use almond flour in baking, again, being mindful of added sugars in recipes. Almond butter is another great option. Spread it on whole grain toast or apple slices, just check the label to make sure it doesn't have added sugar or unhealthy oils. You can buy almonds in various forms, raw, dry roasted, sliced, slivered, or as flour or butter. Choose plain, unsalted versions for the best health benefits. A safety nuance with almonds: almonds are a common allergen. If you have a tree nut allergy, avoid almonds. For others, the main consideration is portion size due to calories. Also, the skin of almonds contains fiber and some nutrients, but it can be harder to digest for some people. If you find whole almonds with skin bother your stomach, you can try blanched almonds, with the skin removed. Chewing almonds thoroughly is also important for digestion. Almonds are fantastic for bones and immunity, but our number 1 nut is often called the king for something incredibly vital for older adults: your brain and heart. And the number 1 nut you absolutely must eat if you're over 65 is walnuts. Walnuts truly stand out for their unique nutritional profile, particularly their exceptionally high content of omega-3 fatty acids, specifically alpha-linolenic acid, ALA. Omega-3s are a type of polyunsaturated fat that are considered essential because our bodies cannot produce them, we have to get them from our diet. They are powerful anti-inflammatory agents and are crucial for the health of your brain and heart. For brain health, omega-3s play a vital role in maintaining cell membranes and communication between brain cells. Research suggests that getting enough omega-3s is associated with better cognitive function, a lower risk of dementia, and improved mood as we age. For heart health, omega-3s help lower triglycerides, a type of fat in your blood, reduce blood pressure, prevent blood clots, and decrease inflammation, all of which contribute to a lower risk of heart attack and stroke. While fatty fish are the most well-known source of omega-3s, walnuts are one of the best plant-based sources. They also contain other beneficial nutrients like antioxidants, including polyphenol that are particularly beneficial for the brain, vitamin E, and magnesium. Numerous studies have focused specifically on the benefits of walnuts, particularly concerning brain and heart health. Research published in journals like the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, JAMA Internal Medicine, and the Journal of Nutrition has provided strong evidence. For instance, the Walnut and Healthy Aging study conducted at Loma Linda University looked at the effects of daily walnut consumption on older adults and found improvements in cholesterol levels and certain markers related to brain function. Other studies have linked regular walnut intake to a reduced risk of cardiovascular events and slower cognitive decline in older populations. The high ALA content in walnuts is often cited as the primary reason for these powerful benefits, making them a standout nut for promoting healthy aging. The practical action for adding walnuts to your diet is very simple. A serving size is about 1 ounce, which is roughly 14 halves, which look a bit like tiny brains. Snack on a handful, add chopped walnuts to your morning oatmeal, yogurt, or cereal, sprinkle them on salads, use them in baked goods, again, watch the sugar, or mix them into pesto or sauces. Walnut butter is also available and can be used like almond butter. Walnuts have a distinct, slightly bitter but earthy flavor that pairs well with both sweet and savory dishes. They are best stored in the refrigerator or freezer because their high omega-3 content makes them more prone to going rancid than other nuts if left at room temperature for too long. A safety nuance with walnuts: like other nuts, they are calorie-dense, so portion control is important for weight management. They are also a tree nut and can cause allergic reactions in sensitive individuals. The unique shape of walnut halves can sometimes be a choking hazard for older adults or those with swallowing difficulties, so consider chopping them into smaller pieces, especially if you are giving them to someone with such risks. So, there you have it, the nuts to avoid and the nuts to embrace for better health as you age. We talked about avoiding heavily salted nuts because they raise blood pressure, nuts with sugary coatings because they mess with your blood sugar, deep-fried nuts because they add unhealthy fats, and being cautious with certain raw nuts due to potential digestive issues or anti-nutrients. On the flip side, we discovered the power of pecans for their amazing antioxidants, pistachios for protecting your eyesight, almonds for boosting bone strength and immunity with vitamin E and magnesium, and the undisputed champion, walnuts, for their incredible omega-3s that are like rocket fuel for your brain and heart. Making these simple swaps can feel small, but their impact on your energy, your heart, your brain, and your overall well-being can be truly significant over time. You have the power to make healthier choices starting today, one handful of the right nuts at a time. If you found this information helpful and plan to make changes to your nut choices, please comment below and tell me which of the must-eat nuts is your favorite. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more tips on healthy aging. Join me next time when I'll share simple exercises you can do daily to improve your balance and prevent falls. Thank you for watching and investing this time in your health. Remember, aging is a natural process, and while we can't stop it, we can certainly influence how well we do it. By making informed choices about our diet, like picking the right nuts, we build a stronger foundation for many vibrant years ahead. It's about progress, not perfection. Don't feel like you have to change everything overnight. Start with swapping out just one type of unhealthy nut for a healthy one, or add a small handful of walnuts to your breakfast. Consistency is key. Even small, regular efforts add up to big results over time. Think of each handful of walnuts as a deposit in your brain health bank, each serving of almonds as strengthening your bones, and each portion of pistachios as supporting your precious eyesight. Choosing unsalted, unsweetened, and properly prepared nuts is such a simple yet effective strategy for supporting your health goals as you navigate the later decades of life. These nuts offer valuable nutrients that can be harder to get from other sources and provide a satisfying snack that keeps you feeling full longer than many processed foods. So, next time you reach for a snack, think about the power in your hand and choose the nuts that love your body back. Your future self will thank you. Let's commit to making these small, positive changes together. Stay healthy and stay vibrant.